In the humid heat of early morning, long before the city wakes, a different kind of clock is already ticking. Not the clock of traffic or notifications, but the clock of ripeness. Jackfruit doesn't wait. It doesn't negotiate. It reaches a moment where everything is perfect. Sweetness, aroma, texture. And the second that moment passes, nature starts taking it back. Today, that fleeting perfection is being captured, scaled, standardized, and shipped across regions inside a modern food factory built to do one thing exceptionally well: turn a spiky, heavy tropical fruit into crisp, golden jackfruit chips that taste like sunshine in a bag. But the journey from orchard to snack aisle isn't simple. It's a race against time, microbes, moisture, oxygen, and human error. And in this facility, error isn't a dramatic event. It's a tiny deviation, a temperature that drifts, a seal that's imperfect, a batch that falls outside spec. Here, precision is not a preference, it's survival. It begins where the fruit is born, in the orchards. Farmers walk the rows, checking the fruit the old-fashioned way, by touch, sound, and experience. A jackfruit can weigh as much as a small child, and when it's ready, it announces itself. The scent is fuller, the skin yields slightly, and the hollow thump becomes deeper. Harvest crews work quickly. The fruit is cut carefully to protect the stem and reduce bruising. Each jackfruit is placed into padded crates, not thrown, not stacked carelessly, because damage isn't just cosmetic, it's chemistry. Bruised fruit breaks down faster. Sugar begins to ferment. Texture collapses. From the orchard, the supply chain turns industrial. Trucks arrive with ventilation, sometimes temperature control, and one main rule: minimize time in transit. While the road hums beneath the tires, the fruit is already changing. Respiration continues. Moisture shifts. Enzymes do their quiet work, and every extra hour adds risk. When the trucks reach the factory gates, the fruit doesn't roll straight into production. In a modern plant, the entrance is a checkpoint. This is where the factory decides what it will accept and what it will refuse. Pallets move onto receiving docks under bright inspection lights. Workers scan barcodes tied to lot numbers, farm sources, harvest times. A digital system logs
Here's the
everything:
manifest for the
origin,
jackfruit shipment.
supplier,
Everything
weight,
seems in order.
arrival temperature,
Proceed to bay
and
3.
even the truck's sanitation record. Traceability isn't a luxury here. If
Manifest
something
and
goes
ID
wrong
card,
later,
please.
the factory must be able to
Here you are.
rewind time and
Thank you.
pinpoint
Everything
exactly
looks
where
correct.
it started.
You're all set. Please
Quality
proceed.
control begins immediately. Inspectors take random samples from each shipment. They look for external damage, signs of mold, insect intrusion, and unacceptable ripeness. Some fruit is too green, starchy, bland, difficult to process. Some is overripe, too soft, too sugary,
So that's 20 pallets total.
unstable.
That's correct.
The middle
Everything
is the
accounted
sweet
for.
spot.
All right.
And this
sign here,
factory
please.
is built to live in that sweet spot. Then comes the first major
Here
transformation:
at the inbound
sanitation.
sampling station,
The
our
jackfruit
QC
moves
team
into a washing
selects
line that
random
looks more like a
jackfruit
car
to
wash
ensure
than a kitchen
every
sink.
batch meets
Conveyor
our high
belts feed the fruit
standards.
through high-pressure spray tunnels. Water jets knock away dust and field debris. Food-grade brushes rotate and scrub the textured skin. In many plants, a mild sanitizing
release,
rinse follows
every
carefully
pallet
controlled
must
and
clear
monitored
our
because the
stringent
goal isn't to
quality
perfume the
control
fruit,
protocols
it's to
in this
reduce surface
controlled
microbes
environment.
before the fruit is open. And that matters, because the moment jackfruit is cut, its inner sweetness becomes a magnet for contamination. Sugar is energy, and microbes love energy. The next zone is where the factory starts to feel like a hybrid of a culinary studio and an engineering lab. Jackfruit is tough to handle by hand at scale. Sticky latex, thick rind, fibrous core. Modern automation helps, but there's still a balance between machine efficiency and careful craftsmanship. In a semi-automated prep area, trained operators make the initial cuts and split the fruit, while the line controls the pace. Stations are designed for hygiene. Stainless steel surfaces, easy clean geometry, controlled airflow, and workers wearing protective gear, hair nets, gloves, masks, and sometimes sleeves, because consistency is built from thousands of small controls. As the fruit opens, you see the real prize. Golden bulbs of jackfruit flesh, each wrapped around a seed, separated by fibrous strands. The latex is handled with food-safe practices, and tools are cleaned frequently. Once the bulbs are separated, the process becomes more automated. The flesh moves onto conveyors,
We use a safety
passing
guarded
through
knife for
sorting
this.
systems. Cameras and
Score
vision
deeply
sensors
around the
detect
middle,
discoloration,
then
foreign
simply
matter,
pull it
and
apart
irregular
cleanly
sizes.
at the cut
Pieces
lines.
that don't meet spec are diverted instantly. In this factory, sorting isn't a judgment call. It's a decision made by machines trained to notice what humans might miss after hours of repetitive work. Now, the factory shifts from preparation to engineering, because making jackfruit chips isn't just drying fruit.
After
It's
removing
controlling
the
water and
seeds by
heat so
hand,
precisely
the
that the
jackfruit
result
is
feels
trimmed
light,
at this
crisp,
station to
and
ensure
clean,
uniformity
without burning,
and a perfect
without
bite.
oiliness, without
Here
turning
at
the
the
natural
QC trim
sweetness
table,
into bitterness.
every jackfruit
Depending on the
bulb
product
is
style,
meticulously
jackfruit
inspected
chips can be
to
made
remove
through
any
different
bruising
technologies.
before it
In this
moves on
plant,
to slicing.
the signature method is vacuum frying, a technique that sounds futuristic but solves a very old problem. Fruit contains a lot of water. If you fry it at normal atmospheric pressure, the water flashes into steam violently, the sugars brown too quickly, and the texture can become tough or overly dark. Vacuum frying lowers the boiling point of water by reducing pressure, allowing dehydration and crisping to happen at a lower temperature. Less heat damage, better color, cleaner aroma, more of the fruit's identity stays intact. Before frying, the jackfruit may go through a gentle pre-treatment. Some lines include a brief blanch or a controlled osmotic step designed to stabilize enzymes, reduce browning, and create uniform texture. Not every factory does it the same way.
Here we see the jackfruit
But the reason
slices
is always the
being dipped
same.
in the anti-browning
You want
solution
predictability.
as part of
A
the
chip
color
that tastes the
preservation
same in
step
January
the
as it does in
pretreatment tank.
July. Then the slices enter the heart of the plant, the vacuum frying system. It's a sealed, stainless steel vessel connected to pumps, sensors, and computerized controls. Operators don't guess the temperature. They don't eyeball the timing. The system monitors pressure, oil temperature, product load, and moisture release. Recipes live in software. Batches are programmed. The fryer becomes less like a pan and more like a controlled environment where physics is used as a tool. Inside, the transformation is dramatic. Water leaves the fruit in a controlled rush, but not a violent one. Microbubbles appear as moisture escapes. The fruit structure expands slightly, then sets. Crispness is born in those moments when water is replaced by air pockets, and the surface becomes a delicate shell. But frying is only half the story, because the enemy of a great chip isn't just undercooking or overcooking. It's leftover oil. As the batch finishes, the product is transferred to a de-oiling stage, often a centrifuge under vacuum or controlled atmosphere. This is where the chips spin, and excess oil is flung away, leaving behind a lighter, cleaner bite. It's the difference between a snack that feels premium and one that feels heavy, and the factory is watching, always. Inline sensors and periodic lab checks track moisture content, oil content, and water activity. Water activity is a quiet but critical metric because it predicts shelf life better than simple dryness. Two products can feel equally crisp, but one can still hold enough available water to invite microbial growth over time. In a plant like this, water activity isn't an abstract concept. It's a gate you must pass. From here, the chips cool on conveyors in a temperature-controlled zone. Cooling might sound boring, but cooling is where quality can be lost quickly. Warm product in humid air is a sponge. It absorbs moisture, and crispness disappears. So the plant uses filtered air, controlled humidity, and continuous movement to protect the texture it fought so hard to create. Next comes seasoning if the product calls for it. Some jackfruit chips are plain, showcasing the fruit. Others have a light dusting of salt or a balanced sweet-salty profile. Seasoning is done in tumblers or rotating drums with precise dosing. Too little, and the flavor falls flat. Too much, and you lose the fruit. The aim is restraint, not noise. Then the line moves into what might be the most underrated part of food production, inspection. Not the inspection you can do with a glance, but the inspection that protects millions of bites. The chips pass under metal detectors, calibrated to catch tiny fragments from machinery. Some lines also include X-ray inspection to detect denser contaminants. Every system is validated. Test pieces are run through at scheduled intervals to confirm performance. If the detector fails a check, the line stops. Product is held. The factory doesn't hope it's fine. It proves it. Now we reach packaging, the point where the factory seals its work into a promise.
Confirming the low
Packaging
surface oil
isn't just a
content.
bag. It's a barrier
This
against
batch
oxygen
meets our
and moisture,
quality
the
standards.
two forces that can ruin crispness and flavor long before the expiry date. The packaging hall is a controlled environment. Clean floors, filtered air, strict movement protocols. In some plants, workers pass through air curtains or hygiene stations. The machines here work with relentless rhythm. Multi-head weighers measure exact portions with speed and precision, dropping chips into forming bags in fractions of a second. Sealing jaws close and fuse layers of film with calibrated heat and pressure. A fraction too cool, and the seal leaks. A fraction too hot, and the film weakens. There's no
Nitrogen
close
is
enough.
flushed into the jackfruit
There's only
pouch
pass
headspace
or
by the
fail,
packaging
end
machine,
quote. Many
reducing
premium snack
oxygen
lines
for
also
extended
use nitrogen
shelf life.
flushing. Right before sealing, the bag is filled with nitrogen to push out oxygen. Less oxygen means slower oxidation, better flavor stability, and longer shelf life. The air in the bag is not there to trick you. It's there to protect the product, acting like a cushion and a shield. Immediately after sealing, the bags are checked again. Seal integrity systems look for defects. Weight checkers verify each pack meets the declared weight. Labels are applied with lot codes and production timestamps because traceability continues all the way to the retail shelf. If there's ever a problem, these codes become a map. Behind the scenes, the factory's laboratory runs quiet tests. Microbial counts, moisture analysis, sensory checks, oil quality monitoring. Because modern food production isn't one line, it's a network of verification. And each verification is designed to catch an issue before it becomes a story. Once packaged, the product moves to the finished goods warehouse. This isn't just storage, it's preservation. Temperature and humidity are monitored. Pallets are wrapped. Inventory systems track first in, first out rotation, so older product ships first. Orders are built, loaded, and sent out along distribution routes that may span cities or cross borders. And still, the factory thinks about time, because shelf life is a contract.
Once the jackfruit arrives
The crunch
at the
you hear
staging
when you
lanes,
open the bag
the
weeks
team
from now
quickly prepares
was
the
engineered
customer
today.
orders for
But this isn't
dispatch.
only a story about machines. It's also a story about people and systems that keep those machines honest. Automation can move faster than any human, but automation can also magnify mistakes if the controls are weak. That's why training matters. Why sanitation cycles are scheduled. Why equipment is cleaned with CIP. Clean-in-place systems that flush and sanitize internal piping and tanks without disassembly. That's why the plant tracks critical control points, logs them, audits them, and treats each deviation like a signal, not a nuisance. Even waste becomes part of the design. Jackfruit rind, fiber, and seeds don't have to be trash. In many modern operations, byproducts are collected for animal feed, composting, or energy recovery. Some facilities send organic waste to biogas systems, converting leftovers into fuel that helps power the plant. Because efficiency isn't just speed, it's responsibility. And somewhere far away from the stainless steel and sensors, someone will open a bag without thinking about any of this. They'll hear the crackle, smell the sweetness, taste something that feels simple. But simplicity, in this world, is manufactured. Not in the sense of artificial, but in the sense of controlled, protected, repeated. From a fruit that can weigh more than a suitcase, to a chip that weighs almost nothing. The process is a precise negotiation with nature. Heat and pressure, water and air, microbes and time. And in a modern factory, the goal isn't to overpower the fruit. It's to preserve its best moment and deliver it on demand at scale. Because when you think about it, that's the real magic. Taking something that belongs to a season, to a region, to a single morning in an orchard, and turning it into a snack you can find any day of the year, anywhere you happen to be. The next time you pick up a bag of jackfruit chips, it might feel like a small thing, a quick bite, a casual craving. But behind that crunch is an entire hidden world moving in perfect sync so that a ripe fruit's brief window of perfection doesn't disappear. It becomes something you can hold in your hand, a sealed moment of sweetness, a journey completed.